Welcome, my mangly little hairbrushes. How you doing today? We've got to talk about the Mortar on Bloons CD battles today. The Mortar is a really interesting tower, and the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that we used to use the Mortar all the time. In the Flash version and in BT5, the Mortar was like the bomb. You always use the Mortar, and then in mobile, we tended to stay away from it a little bit. Why do we do that? Well, again, number one, the versatility is not perfect. He does pop balloons, he does pop camo balloons, but in the early game, he's kind of expensive for what you get. In the late game, he's not as effective against the Moabs, so it's like we try and stay away from it a little bit because of the lack of versatility and because we only get 3 towers max. Also, the Mortar seemingly is a little bit worse in the mobile version compared to the Flash version. Why is this? It's basically because almost all explosions in the mobile version are slightly worse than in the Flash version. Not terrible, but they're slightly worse. So that is one reason why, that's, the main reasons why we try and stay away from the Mortars right around now. Lack of versatility and because they're not quite as good. So I am going to be starting off with the Mortar. I'm going to try him out and see how good he does. I'm also going to get a random little Dark Monk over here. I might be getting some Bloon Eco, I don't know, 400 or something like that. Nothing crazy, but just get something flowing. So, as a 0-0 Mortar, what do you get out of this guy? Well, he doesn't have a first class, last, close, or strong. He doesn't aim by himself. You have to put where you want him to aim. So, when you build the Mortar, you have to, then you click where you want him to aim, and you can also move him around. So you can press the set target button and move him wherever you want. You can have him shoot anywhere. Now sadly, he does not follow your mouse, so he doesn't just, or follow your finger, he does not just shoot wherever. He stays where you're at until you pick the spot that you want to put him. Alright, so now that we got that down, I'm also going to get 1, 2, 3, I'm going to get that thing. And we got a pretty solid defense going. I need to get some Bloon Eco in here as well. Reds and blues, man. Reds and blues. But what map should you pick a Mortar on? You can pick him on almost any map, but usually you want to pick a map where there's some sort of nice little crevasse near the entrance where you can do a lot of grouped balloon damage to him. And that is pretty much this map right here. This is a perfect map for the Mortar. You get a nice little chunky area in the middle, usually where you want to put like a tack shooter or something. When you just put him in a little area where his explosion will do damage to all the balloons inside of that little area. You don't want to put him near a straight line. Straight lines just don't make sense. You're not going to get a lot of popping power out of this guy. Like we moved our Mortar to, for example, right here. We're not going to be doing a lot of damage. We're only hitting him in one little tiny spot. You can tell the blues are starting to overwhelm us now, but if we put him back over here, now we can start doing a lot more damage to these balloons. I'm also going to get a random little Dark Monk over here, because I want to talk about the Mortar upgrades, but I don't want to upgrade them just yet. I might even lose some lives in here because of that. Alright, so let's talk about the upgrades in here. The first 2 upgrades, you almost always, if you ever get a Mortar, you almost always want to get, right from the get-go, get a 1-1 Mortar. Increased accuracy, very cheap, makes sense. And rapid reload, a little bit faster shooting. Alright, absolutely perfect. We love those 2 upgrades. They just make sense. And they're very cheap, so why the heck not? But realistically, what they do is rapid reload makes them shoot a little bit faster. Alright. Oh man, he's gonna rush me with yellow over here, dude. I gotta get the Bernie stuff before I even wanted to. It's okay, it's not a big deal. Honestly, I could probably kill this guy with the Rigor Yellows, but I'm not going to do that. Don't feel like doing that right now. I'm just gonna chill, man. Just chillax a little bit. And then the increased accuracy, well, watch my set target right here. It looks gigantic. And sadly, it doesn't adjust like it does in the other game. But realistically, what we're doing is instead of having this giant red circle where he can shoot anywhere, you notice that he's hitting right in the middle of that target every single time. When you have a 0-0 Mortar, or not upgraded to the left side yet, he will hit pretty much anywhere in that giant red circle. So that's why he's kind of scary, or the mini red circle on the inside. He can hit pretty much anywhere. The middle of the explosion will hit anywhere in there. And that means he's less accurate, so he's not going to get the max popping power out of his thing. So anyways, what we're going to do is we got to get a little bit better defense. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. We're going to get a nice little juggernaut over here, I think. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And we're going to go buddy boop. If he rushes us with these Regal Rainbows, I'm going to be ready for it. I just feel like this guy wants to rush me. I don't know, I just feel like it. But then anyways, the main amazing upgrade for the Mortar that you pretty much want to get if you're building a Mortar is the Bernie stuff. How does the Bernie stuff really work? Does it actually work, and is it good? Yes, yes, and yes. Bernie stuff. If you're going to get a Mortar, you got to get the Bernie stuff. Basically what it does is it pops through 3 layers after it starts getting burned. So, for example, if you hit a black balloon, which does not get hit by the explosion, then it's going to change into pinks, and then yellows, and then green. So it popped through 3 layers. But the thing is, because it was a black, even though it's popping through 3 layers, we're popping 6 balloons because 2 pinks pop out of those blacks. So you have to keep that in mind. When we have these higher level balloons, these rainbows popping into zebras, zebras popping into whites and blacks, we're really popping way more than just 3 layers over here. Alright, so I got a crap ton of money. Let's go a little bit of yellow balloon action in here. Get some extra eco flowing, man. I don't want to go crazy with it. I just want to get some extra stuff. We got 450, and we're going to get quite a few more dart monkeys. And we're going to get a couple balloon chippers. 1, 2, and 3. Put them all on strong, of course. And we're feeling pretty good. Alright, so now what do we do with the mortar? Alright, we got the Bernie stuff mortar, so we know we're pretty decent against these group balloons. We've got our balloon chippers to defend these things. We got some dart monkeys for extra power. Alright, so we feel alright. Even against him. Use battle energy, we'll be fine. What about the mortar? What else can we do? Well, with the mortar, I think the main reason why most people pick mortars is because it's full camo detection, within reason. If you have him in a bad spot, he's not going to be full camo popping power. Maybe a camo pink will leak through or something like that. A couple camo pinks will leak through. But in general, if you put him in the right spot, you get him up to the highest upgrade, the 2-3 mortar, you have basically full-on camo detection, and that's why he is nice. He decamoizes the balloons. So the signal flare, $700, reasonably pricey upgrade, but for getting rid of all of the camos on the screen, it's not bad at all. Awesome, awesome upgrade. So we are going to put him over there. We've got everything set up. We've got full-on camo protection now, so now we don't have to worry about camos at all. Then we're going to talk about the left-sided upgrade, which is the Bigger Blast. Bigger Blast basically makes his explosion bigger. So if you look actually at his explosion, check it out right now. It's kind of small. Get this? It's a little bit bigger. You can't really tell fantastically, but it is a little bit bigger. But realistically, it's not that little tiny explosion that you see. It's much bigger than that. The radius is actually much bigger than that little tiny explosion that you see. You can actually see when these guys start on fire. There's a lot of fire over there. There really is. This guy's still rushing me with a crap ton of balloons. Holy Jesus, man. All these rainbows and everything is getting kind of ridiculous over here. Alright, so usually what I tell people is that if you are a bad player, the mortar is not your thing, because you can't micro him and you can't make him better. If you're a good player, you can use the mortar and you can micro him even better. So it basically makes it's bad for bad players, but good for good players. And it's basically because of that micro ability. We can move the mortar around. Sadly, the sell button is right next to the set target button, so you might accidentally move it over to the wrong, you might accidentally sell it instead of moving it over to the right spot. But yeah, it's a pretty solid thing. So this guy's also got ninjas and a super monkey over here. So I think we're just gonna go for a full-on rush against this guy pretty soon. I think. I don't know. I can't decide. Can't decide. Four mobs would be really, really fun to rush this guy with. But let's get the mortars going first. Let's get the other sided mortar first. So with the other side, alright, we've got this little 0-0 mortar right now. We're going to get increased accuracy and rapid reload always. We're going to put him kind of over here in a little bit of a weird spot. We also have to use the battle got to get more dark ones. And we're going to get the Bigger Blast and the Bloon Buster. So what does the Bloon Buster do? The Bloon Buster basically pops 2 balloons instead of 1 balloon. So you're popping, again, 2 layers, though, not 2 balloons. Makes pinks go down to greens, yes, that's 2 balloons, but if you pop a rainbow, you're not going down to zebras, you can go down to blacks and whites, so really you can pop up to like 4 balloons, you know, it's pop a lot of balloons through that thing, and then you also add the birdie stuff on there, so you can go boom, 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 baby, and you can take a lot of balloons down with this thing. It's kind of like a sniper. He's not that great when you get snipers popping 2 layers, but if you pop them up to 4 layers, they can go from rainbows down to like yellow, you know, I mean, so it's a big chunk, big difference right there. So we are going to get the big one just because we can, man. Big one is a delicious, delicious tower. You put him right in the middle over here, like that. Oh no, we disconnected! No, that's so sad. But basically, the big one, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, man. We'll just play another game in here really quick. The big one is an amazing tower because instead of popping 2 layers, we pop 5 layers. So again, this is like a sniper. We're not popping 5 balloons, we're popping 5 layers on all the balloons in the explosion. So anything from ceramics down basically get annihilated. Sadly, if you get enough balloons in your range, you actually do not pop them all. You actually hit a pop limit. The pop limit of this thing is not very high. So, even though we liked the big one and we think the big one is really, really good, it can hit its pop limit and be not that great overall. So just be wary of the big one. I used to think the big one was, you know, unbelievably amazing and infinite balloon popping power and all this stuff. No, it is not. Is it good? Yes. But for $10,000, I don't know. I don't think I would ever get the Mortar up to that high. So this guy's actually a pretty decent player. So we're going to get the Mortar, we're going to get a Banana Farm, and we're going to get the... You know, let's do something funky here. Let's do Wizards. Alright, and we get a Super Monkey. Alright, man. Have some fun with it, right? That's what we always like to do. Have some fun with it. So we basically talked about all of the Mortar upgrades, besides the artillery battery. And that is one of the towers that I wanted to talk about last because it's really weird and usually not that effective, but I can see how people can use it in effective ways, and that's where it gets a little bit funky. So for the artillery battery, a lot of people use this in late game in the Flash version, but in the mobile version, we tend not to use it that much, and there's not really a reason why. It actually is pretty reasonably effective in the mobile version for stalling and everything, but we just tend not to use it because, again, we're not thinking we're going around 50, 60, 70, 80. We're not thinking that. We're thinking, you know, we're going to chill at these lower levels and beat people on around 18, 13, 22, something like that. The main goal is we're going to get a wizard up to Lightning Wizard, we're going to get a couple of farms going, and then we're going to get probably a really nice, juicy, big one right in the middle of the map. And that's going to stop all the balloons, hopefully. And if we need to, we'll, you know, adjust accordingly. So we're going to lose a few lives in here, I think, unless we get the lightning in time. And we do get the lightning, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to stop all of them right now. There's a lot of balloons on the screen. Alright, Andy's setting up blues now, too. Oh my goodness gracious. But we got to get more banana farms, man. Banana farms are key. The key to the game, the entire game, especially when you play somebody good, you know? You just gotta do it. So for the artillery battery, what does it do? Well, this is one of those upgrades where it not only gives you an ability, it also changes the actual mortar. It makes you shoot 3 times as fast. So is that helpful? Honestly, not that much. Not as much as you would think, because it doesn't triple up the Bernie stuff. You know, again, the Bernie stuff is the main way that we get the balloon popping power out of these guys, not with the explosion. The explosion does do 1 pop, but the Bernie stuff does 3 pops. So when we have these higher level balloons, when we're fighting these guys, the artillery battery will often hit black balloons eventually, and then it doesn't matter how fast we're shooting, or zebra balloons, doesn't matter how fast we're shooting, these guys will get basically trapped. They'll just go boom, boom, boom. 5 hits on a black balloon doesn't do nothing until it burns through that little black layer. And by the way, the Bernie stuff can burn through zebras and can burn through blacks, so technically mortars can pop blacks and zebras. So let's get our stuff going, man. We gotta get this guy over here. We're gonna go boom, boom, 1-1 mortar as per usual, and then Bernie stuff. Keep in mind that you can go for a 0-2 mortar as your first thing. I understand that, but I eventually think you should get the 1-2. That little bit of accuracy does go a long way, at least if you ask me. Alright, so we're going to go at least 1 more mortar, and then like I said, I want to get a big one. I don't think I can afford it for around 13. If I could, that would be absolutely astoundingly amazing. I don't think I can, but if not, I'll just go for a couple wizards and see if we can defend these balloons. Oftentimes, if you get a quick tornado mage, you can defend almost anything. Even Regal Rainbows, oftentimes, you can defend those guys. It's weird, but it works pretty well. But the artillery battery also has an ability. So the ability, what it does is, I don't think I'm actually going to end up getting it. I don't think I'll have enough money for it and everything, but if I do, awesome sauce. But basically what it does is it stuns all the balloons on the screen and also does a little bit of extra damage to them. So I don't know exactly how much damage it does. It doesn't do much damage, but the main thing is that it stuns them. It stuns all the balloons, and then stuns the Moab class balloons for a couple seconds, stuns the BFBs for a little bit less time, and stuns the Zombie Gods for almost no time. So we're going to get one of these guys. We're going to go da-da-da-da-da. I will get the big blast as well. I'll get the camera detection on this guy, and I'll get the camera detection on this guy as well. I don't know, I feel reasonably safe, I suppose. If I sold everything, I could probably afford a big one. Sadly, that would be 0 cam detection at the moment. But it would be really crazy if we could do that, though. 6,000, yeah, you know what, I think I could. That'd be awesome. Awesome, man. We could sell everything and get a big one in time for that gigantic rush. It would be very, very tricky to try and sell everything, but if we did it, it'd be awesome. Instead, I'm going to go for Banana Republic and go for a little bit extra Banana Farm action instead. That's pretty much it for the mortar, honestly, though. There's not much to deal with the mortar. Do I think they should nerf it, buff it, or anything like that? I don't know. I feel like it serves its purpose. Is it the most amazing tower ever? No, but it definitely serves its purpose. It does what it's supposed to do. One side is full-on cam detection. One side is fairly good balloon popping power. Once you get him up to a big one, he's a really nice upgrade. Artillery battery also stuns the balloons. So I just feel like he's fun. He's a fun tower to use, and you can use him in effective ways. He's kind of hard to use on a lot of levels, but, you know, not every tower is supposed to work on every single level. That just makes sense, right? So we're probably going to do some sort of BFB rush against this guy fairly soon. Just do, like, a BFB with, like, 5 fast cooldown mobs or something like that. I don't think he's going to be able to handle that at all. At all. If he does decide to rush us, I will get a 0-0 Super Monkey and a big one. I know that's kind of a funky way to do it, man, but, I don't know, it's kind of fun, right? Playing fun, man. That's always the point of the game. If I lost this game, I wouldn't be that upset either. I'd be like, what you gonna do when they come for you? Ghostbusters! Alright, gotta be a little careful here. These ceramic balloons and stuff that are gonna be coming out of these next few rounds are a little bit difficult to deal with without a gigantically delicious mortar. So I just realized I probably should have got big one, or I probably should have got the balloon buster before I went for start saving up for the big one. It's just silly to do that because I had to get it anyways. Alright, so this guy's defense, like I said, is still pretty darn bad. Alright, get ready for it here, guys. This is the big one! So we've got the big one over here. We're going to put him in the middle of the map now instead of just down the corner. Now keep in mind, again, our camera detection is quite slacking. So what we can do is we can pop in another mortar and just get him up to the camera detection upgrade. And then we're going to have full-on camera detection with our mortar, and then a delicious amount of group pop power with our big one, and a reasonable amount of other stuff. Reasonable amount of pop power, reasonable amount of everything else. We got the signal flare, we get increased accuracy. Of course, whenever I go for these higher upgrades already, I just get the bigger blast. It just helps out that little tiny bit that you need. So anyways, we're going to wait till round 22 and do a full-on BFB rush with a couple fast cooldown mobs underneath that just in case. Now, the only thing we have to worry about is if he decides to counter-rush us. He can 2-4 mortar ability and counter-rush us, because we know this guy's pretty decently good. He's, you know, Screwy Louie. We know he's a decent player. So we got to be a little careful. A little careful of that counter-rush. If he does counter-rush us, I might sell and try and do an artillery battery stun until his 2-4 ninjas abilities wear off, while doing a couple fast cooldown Moabs or some regrow ceramics or something on top of that. Even just spamming regular rainbows might be a way to take this guy down if he's only got a couple ninjas left and he sells some of those guys. So we got to keep all that stuff in mind, you know. It's fun to think about this stuff, but that's what I'm going to do. So there we go. We got 4 BFBs we can sell. 1, 2, 3, 4. Balloon pop power is still pretty decent, you know, as you can tell. Not perfect, as you can plainly see though, not perfect. When you got full-on ceramics coming out, it's not perfect. But we go rainbows down to greens. The 5-layer thing really does come into play right now. So there's the 4 BFBs. He's going to try and send them back at me. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to go for 4 fast cooldown mobs. After that, he's probably going to send the BFB at us. And we're going to finish off with a bunch of zebras. Alright, there we go. He is going to try and defend it now. Alright, this is getting intense, my friends. Very, very intense. I don't think he used the 2-4 ninja ability. Oh, there we go. We finally see the sabotage coming out. But even with that, man, the balloon popping power is going to be extremely limited. And right now, we only have 2 mortars. 1 counter detection mortar, 1 full-on balloon popping power mortar. But the balloons look like they will end up running through Screwy Louie's defense, and that will be the game. Even with the battle energy in the end here. I see billions of mobs running through. Finally losing lives. Come on, Screwy Louie. Yes, there we go. Alright. That's a pretty good game. Again, I don't think they should nerf or change the mortar at all, and I don't give him an amazing record because he's not the best tower ever. I'm only going to give him a 6, maybe 6.5 out of 10. He's a decent tower. You can use him in a lot of situations. But, not every tower is perfect. And that's the key to this one. You can't use him in every situation, but what he does full-on camera protection, man. He does what he does good. And that's what I'm going to have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, press the like button. If you think I suck and you think, you know, I'm totally wrong about the mortar and he's the best tower ever, make sure you talk about it in the comments down there and start an argument with people because that's just fun to watch. Thanks for watching and have a super duper delicious day.